I've been in policing 34 years, but I've been a chief for about 6 years.
Gotcha. So I just want to chat with you. I'm trying to chat with basically all the chiefs I can at this point, since I just came on as deputy director about a month ago.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to it. I really enjoy everyone I've met and I work with. So I'm hoping that I can help out in multiple ways. So I'm excited. Work done.
Good. That's good.
So I just want to chat with you, not just about the committee, but about yourself. Kind of just do a little spotlight on Chief Fletcher here. So just to get started, just tell me a bit about yourself.
Well, I was born and raised on the south side of Chicago, and kind of stumbled up on a law enforcement career where a lot of people, their desire when they were little kids was to be a police officer. Mine wasn't. I wanted to be about 50 other things. And as I was going to school and working, I said, I need a good job. So I took the police test and I took the fire test. And I passed both of them with flying colors. And I said, whoever calls me first, that's where I'm going. The police department called me first. And it was a job that I hadn't planned on taking, but once I took it, I enjoyed it and got into it. And at first it was a job where it paid the bills, I had fun, and then I made sergeant. And when I made sergeant, I was promoted to sergeant in 1998. And when I made sergeant, I realized this could be a career and not just a job. So I got serious and I went back to school and completed my degree. And then I also completed my master's. And that's when I took it seriously to make it a career. And I wanted to advance because I felt that I had a lot to give. I knew a lot about the diverse communities in Chicago. And Chicago's a rough town to be the police in. And I learned a lot, had a lot of mentors in Chicago, and I worked it well. And when I left there, I left Chicago to become the chief of Calumet City. But I had done 29 years in Chicago, and I had achieved the rank of commander upon my retirement. So I felt that my work was done there, and I wanted to try out being the big chief. So I worked in Calumet City for 5 years, and then I worked in where I'm at now, Calumet Park, and I've been here for about a year and a half.
One thing that I wrote down as you were speaking, and I apologize for any background noise, we're right there next to the road. You spoke about the mentors that you had in Chicago. Who were your mentors?
Well, some of the mentors were actually a couple of old time patrolmen that I worked with. And they never achieved rank. One in particular, a guy named Jerry Winston, never achieved any rank, was a beat patrolman, but he always had a perfect demeanor and could read people. And he taught me the importance of writing good paperwork, legible, and he always would tell you, he said, you don't want to be embarrassed going to court where you have to testify to a report that you've written and they look at it and look like you never went to school. And he always put into me that don't overreact in situations that don't need it, you know. And in the course of a day in Chicago, you're going from 10 to 1 to 0 to 20 in a matter of minutes, depending on the assignment. But he's a very even-keeled person, and he, along with a couple of other older guys, kind of took me under their wings and taught me a lot of things about the job, the people, how to treat the citizens. And one thing I learned that you'll never have to worry about complaints on you as a policeman if you treat the people like they were members of your family. even in bad situations. He said, if you pull over somebody, pretend it's your aunt, it's your mother, it's somebody, and give them that same respect, even if you have to give them a ticket. And I carry that along with me my entire career. You know, it's treat people the way you want to be treated. And the time that I've been on the job, I've seen how officers have gotten in trouble by not doing that. And sometimes they overreact when it doesn't need to be. And it's an emotional maturity that you develop over time as a police officer and that you should develop. But sometimes, unfortunately, there are officers who do not develop that. But I guess that's my answer for that one.
No, it was a great answer. I really enjoyed hearing that. And it's really great advice. Treat everyone the way you'd like to be treated. Something like, my mama always said, and I'm sure plenty of other mamas out there have said as well.
Right. And it's funny because the Illinois Chiefs, we push the 10 share principle so much. And the president, he's got his thing with the 2 and 8 across the state. And the second principle is, and I'm looking at it right now, all persons should be treated with dignity and respect. And that just, and I tell people all the time when they talk about the 10 share principles, they say, well, that's stuff that we already, we're doing that. That's it. And my answer is, those are things that we should be doing, but it's obvious in some cases that we're not. So the 10 share principle, it's not like it's something new. It's a reiteration and a reminder to officers in the profession, and almost like a rededication to the things that you swore an oath to when you first took the job. And when I introduced the 10 share principles here in Calumet Park, we had the big signing with the mayor and the council, and then all the officers had a copy, had to sign it and read it, and the officers got a good understanding of it, and a lot of them said, yeah, this is what we do, but it's a good thing to be reminded that you guys are paying attention to when it doesn't go that way. So it's always been a positive thing. That's why when I became the chair of the diversity committee, I really enjoyed, pushing the 10 share principles.
That actually brings me to my next little topic that I was going to ask you about. Is you're the the chairperson for that diversity committee, and you've been on the committee for a couple of years, and obviously what are your big goals? You said the 10 shared principles, but I'll let you just kind of expound on that.
Yeah, our general goals are just to get more departments throughout the state to officially adopt the 10 shared principles. But the vision that I have and our board members is that, and we definitely feel that we're underutilized, but we want to be that go-to committee whenever a town has some kind of emotionally charged racial issue or issue dealing with gay or gender bias, that they come to us because we kind of have a diverse group with all different points of view, and we can shoot it around the table and help any particular chief come up with a great solution that will be good for the citizens and good for the department as well. And a lot of times, depending on where your department is and your makeup of your department, everybody thinks the same way, and they think this is a great idea until it hits the press, and then they see like, wow, I didn't know it would turn out like that. But I say, if you come to our committee and bring it, we could give you that wow before the media gives it to you. And we have definitely had a lot of experience in dealing with negative press, because we know how a simple incident can turn into major news for months and cost a chief his job. But we want to be that go-to committee.
I think that's great, and I would love to help you guys spread more awareness about that, so you can be better utilized or more utilized by the different departments across the state. So obviously the 10 share principles and to be that go-to place. How do you plan to achieve those goals with the diversity committee?
Well, what I'm planning on this year, which is something I haven't done, is to reach out personally to those villages and municipalities who have not adopted them. And then even the ones who have adopted them, reach out to them monthly to just, hey, do you guys have any issues? Do you need any advice on this or that? Because sometimes it may be easier for them to be contacted that way instead of reaching out to us. And sometimes they may not think an issue is that important, and then we'll stumble on it and say, hey, yeah, you should have called us for that one. So we're going to do more personal outreach to the departments to get some things done.
I think that's a great idea, fantastic idea. And I'm hoping with these committee spotlights, we can also help bring some more awareness to help people utilize the diversity committee to its fullest potential. What are some of the challenges that you guys have been facing as a committee since you took over?
Yeah, well, it was weird because I took over during COVID, and right when I first got the chair, and then COVID hit, which really killed us as far as meeting in person. And then that was before Zoom meetings had caught on so big. And and then with us doing things hands on, it was tough for that. So we were basically like shut down for like a year and a half from doing anything. And then when we would meet, we'd have to meet on Zoom meetings. So now I feel like now we're finally coming out of that fog. Uh, and we partnered with the NAACP. We partnered with the Chicago chapter of Noble to do some events. But as a committee, I would like us to, do a little bit more this year as far as physical outreach. Instead of just doing things over the air or over Zoom.
I think that's good. I think that's something that a lot of places and a lot of people are dealing with, which is kind of getting back out there after the pandemic and being able to physically be there and show people, hey, this is what we have to offer. This is what we can do. How can we help you? And there's just something different about a Zoom call than doing things in person, of course.
Right.
And there's
Right.
just a better personal connection, which I think is something that's going to be key with the diversity committee. So I think that's great. I know you guys are dealing with some challenges, but you've got some great goals. You've got some good plans from what I can hear. So what do you think? I'm going to kind of make this a big, broader question here, but what do you think the future will look like for policing? It's kind of a question I've been asking a lot of chiefs out there. Where do they think the future of policing is headed?
Yeah, well, it's changing, and it's changing because of the lack of applicants. So, and I've talked to my fellow chiefs, and right now we're not the most popular profession to join right now. And the way that it's changing is we're getting a different group of people, and not to say that in a negative way, but not necessarily people who aspire to be police officers and to move forward in their careers. Some guys they're happy to get a job, but other guys that we've been getting have embraced everything. But I'll be honest and say the pickings have been slim, and the way policing is, and policing always changes in cycles. Uh, Incidents happen way back when I started. One of the big incidents was the O.J. Simpson trial. O.J. Simpson and the domestic violence, the way we handle domestic violence calls in Chicago changed because of that. With the Mike Brown situation, all those things have made us change. With the George Floyd unrest a couple years ago, that had us changing. So we're more so of a evolving profession as far as a kind of a more hands-off, as far as instead of the boxing gloves, we're wearing mittens sometimes. But a good police officer knows when to put on the boxing gloves and when to put the mittens on. And our job as administrators and chiefs is to help the officers that work for us understand when to do that. You don't need a hammer when you got a thumbtack. It's and it's a delicate balance, and some officers it takes a little longer for them to learn that. And I always say, police officers, we're our own worst enemies at times when we escalate situations that don't need to be escalated, and I think that we get complacent in some ways, and it, sometimes it can be to our detriment. So it's difficult, but I see the profession moving forward, and when we come out of this phase, we'll be much better, because right now we're in the midst of, everybody knows, the Safety Act and the things that may or may not be implemented in the future. And what we do know is that, regardless of what changes the Safety Act will bring or will not bring, is that there will be a lot of components of change, especially in Illinois. So we're embracing it as a department. We've jumped on a lot of them, even though some of the things haven't been enacted. But we're preparing, because we know if some things may be struck down permanently, others may not. That's it. That's my answer for that. I guess I ran on a little bit.
No, it's perfect. That's exactly what this meeting is all about, is to get to know you and to chat with you and let you expound on so many different things. How is your department preparing for the implementation of the Safety Act and the different things with possibly the Pretrial Fairness Act?
Yeah, well, I've definitely made them students of the bill. And one thing I will say about the Illinois Chiefs does an excellent job of preparing us chiefs to give the material to our troops, because a lot of that stuff I couldn't go through it with the fine-tooth comb, but they put the Illinois Chiefs makes summaries easier for us to comprehend and read and give them to our troops. And I've been doing that as we go through these phases, and the troops have a pretty good understanding of things. I know one of the provisions will be it's a body cam requirements, and goes by the size of your department, and that's something that we're going to implement regardless of the Safety Act. But there, certain small things like that as a department we're going to do anyway. So, but the Illinois Chiefs, I can't say enough that the updates that they provide are very, very useful and very helpful for me as a chief. And not to do a commercial for the Illinois Chiefs, but it's the truth, really.
Well, we thank you for that. And I hope through my tenure to be able to continue to do that and make them easier to read and more understandable, and get you guys the information that you need as quickly as possible. That's one of my goals as deputy chief, for sure. One question for you. What are some tips or words of wisdom that you have for police chiefs, maybe new police chiefs or even old police chiefs?
Well, the best words I could give to any police chief, young or old, get to know your guys. Get to know your guys, and sometimes that's easy, and sometimes that's hard. But get to know them at least on a certain level, and let them know that you're not just a chief, but you actually do care about their well-being, even when you're administering discipline. Because to me, and you can't take things personal as a chief, because everybody hates the boss. So you can't take it personally, because it's not really you. Because if it wasn't you sitting in that seat, then they'd be saying the same stuff about somebody else. So as chiefs, we have to have a thick skin, because a lot of things that you may hear about yourself, you may not like, whether they're true or not. And but if you can shake that, get to know your people, and let them know that you actually care about their safety and their well-being, that'll make you go a long way.
I think that's excellent words for wisdom, for sure. Circling back just a bit to the diversity committee, are you guys looking for any new members? Are you pretty well staffed on your membership?
We're always looking for new members. Always. We could never have enough. No, we could never have enough. And you know what? And I will say this and I'll just say this to you, because you're in touch with everybody. If you notice something in a village or town that come to you guys that may be something that our committee could work on, please, you guys reach out to us as well. Because I know we had an issue, and I can't remember the town, but they had an issue about the not the Blue Lives Matter, it was flag or something. And when Ed was in the position, Ed had reached out a couple years ago, and we kind of gave them some good tips and clues on how they should handle it.
Thank you. I'll definitely be keeping an eye out for that. New members and all, and any way
please, please do.
Any way we can help. Do you know how many departments are left to adopt the 10 shared principles?
Offhand, no, but it's more than we'd like. More than we'd like. But the majority of the departments in Illinois, because we have a lot, the majority have adopted them. But the ones that don't, we're working on them one at a time.
Continue to do the good work. Anything, a little bit of information or anything else you'd like to add before we sign off here?
Well, the only thing I would like to add is that in today's policing and how it's such a competitive market as far as recruiting, please make sure that we're getting quality candidates. And it's been very tough getting quality candidates, because this profession, and I've always said it's a noble profession, and we have to make sure that we maintain this quality in the people that we hire. And if we maintain that quality, our departments as a whole, our organization as a whole at Illinois will be a lot better.
I think that's actually really great advice, not just for police departments, but for a lot of different businesses as well. I know it's especially important with police, but I've seen it personally with other departments and other businesses out there where they're just taking what they can get, and that's not leading to a good situation.
Yeah, it's rough, and we've interviewed people that maybe 5 or 6 years ago, we would probably never even give an interview to, and a lot of those people, I said, well, let's give them an interview just to see. And then a lot of time, more time than not, you're like, can't do it. Let's look for somebody else.
Just keep looking, just keep swimming.